so excited. I got a rotary vacuum from Amazon. I'm pumped. Big old
You say
adult
vacuum?
things, huh?
Doesn't say that's how we know we're grown up.
Yeah,
We're
yeah.
excited.
I
We're
got so
excited.
excited the other day.
Adulting sucks.
Jake, I bought an orange chair. And
An
Brandon's,
orange chair?
It's so cool.
Bro.
But Brandon's like, why did you bring this in our house?
Bro, well, first of all, like, all the furniture's white.
Dude,
so I
marriage
was
is
like,
sick. There's like no other situation. Hey, why did you bring this in here? It doesn't matter. We're married.
Yeah,
Like-
you gotta sit on it.
No.
This is what I said. I said, wait till you sit on it and play Call of
No,
Duty.
I kept
man.
going on. I was like, but you realize it's not gonna match anything in our house. I was like, that's what I'm trying to say.
Impulse is the best pulse. Da, 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 da.
That is a thing. I love packaging.
It also has.
I
Nah,
tell you
bro.
what, it's nothing better than just ordering a bunch of crap on Amazon, letting it come in like it's Christmas.
I know.
No.
It's terrible.
Yo, hey, Kirsten, it
Sometimes
blows.
I'll buy my tissues on Amazon just so when they come in, I'm like,
I do that too.
No, it blows my. It blows
Me
my
too.
mind. She gets the amount of packages Kirsten gets. I get like basically nothing.
well, dude, sorry
Wait,
you don't
it-
like to have fun.
I
don't know
was
what to
like-
tell you.
I said,
Yeah.
if you want a package with your name on it, order something.
So what, dude? You like going to the store? Okay, cool,
I mean,
bro.
I like doing that too.
Wow, you're sick, dude. You like going there? Cool.
Actually, do you know some
Bro.
of our biggest dates are us going to the grocery store together? or
Oh,
the
dude,
mall?
that's hot.
Yeah.
That's honestly pretty hot. There's nothing hotter than walking through Target with your
Dude,
lady.
you're like,
Or your
"Woo."
human being, your person.
Yeah, but
Just
there's also
walking through there,
there's also a
looking at stuff
very
you don't need.
there's also a very nervous feeling about walking through Target with Kirsten. So
All right, shots fired.
I won't go
Episode 2
there.
or
We
shoot.
won't go there.
So, anyways, welcome to the Couples
Yeah,
Therapy
yeah.
Podcast.
No, this podcast is about marriage here, okay?
Yeah. He's like, let me tell you, there's nothing worse than going this one over here. You don't know what's going to happen to your credit card.
Oh my god.
Nice, dude. That is nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
Hey,
getting the
hey.
wisdom thing you're talking about. He
Ah,
has it
there,
every
he's got
day.
it now. He's getting it.
Oh, man. Well, welcome to episode... Is this 2 or 3?
Oh, 3.
3.
Number
I-
3. Did you see that? I was like very slow motion.
It's okay. You're just thinking about what you said earlier.
Yeah,
and now you're just
how
like,
in
I'm going to
trouble
hear
he's
about
gonna
this in the
get there. Yeah.
car. This is episode 2 or 3. Which one is it?
We got episode 3 of Busybodies in the house.
I guarantee the next time you guys go to Target, she's going to be like, you nervous, Brandon?
Yeah.
Probably.
Jake, you know too well.
Probably.
Oh, man. Welcome back. Feels good. Feels good to be back.
I've got
Feels
the
good
skills.
to.
I'm ready for it.
Oh, wow. You
Wow.
got the goosies?
Juicy.
I like the little chopsticks in the hair.
Thank you.
I know. Look
You
at
guys
you.
should have some.
Oh, God.
that's-
Well, I think you just do it so well. I think
That was
I'll
the
leave it
best
to you.
reaction you and I could have
I'll
had
leave
right
it
there.
to you.
Oh,
Oh
man.
man.
Yeah. Adulting sucks, though, man. I was thinking about this yesterday. I was like, no, seriously. I was, because I cook a lot. And so I was like cooking and then cleaning the dishes. And then I knew I was going to cook
The
something later. So I
dishes.
also
Yeah.
did the dishes. Like, why the dishes,
Oh,
man?
The
man.
dishes
Like-
really, that's what really hit
Oh
for me.
God, there's nothing worse when you get home, you've had a full day, and your dishes are just piled up, and they're just like staring at
You're
you.
literally stabbing us right now. I've done dishes though since I was a child. That's been
Yeah,
always
no,
my-
same.
that's been my
Yeah,
job.
Yeah, but now
child
it's like-
labor since
it's
I was
like-
very young.
Yeah. But you also look at things in the house very different now because it's all your
Well,
responsibility.
yeah,
Yeah.
when you just, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I used to
Yeah.
get paid for it.
Oh man,
Yeah, I don't get paid
What,
for
like
it.
an allowance?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Must have been nice being middle class.
So-
No, I don't know, man. I hate it so much. It used to be therapeutic for me, but I think it's
Really?
also yeah. I mean, it used to be because it's like, you do the dishes and then you're just kind of thinking about your day, but it's like nothing worse than when you cook a lot. And I only have one pan, which I need to
oh, bro,
I need to
that's-
change
yeah,
that.
that's-
But it's my favorite pan. It does everything how I
No.
want
I will
it.
say, though,
Wait, how
it
do you
helps your
cook multiple
dishes.
things at once, or do you just cook one thing in one pan?
Yeah, most of my stuff are
This
scrambles.
Side side is for the eggs.
Yeah.
Side's for
No,
the sausage.
seriously, most of my stuff is scrambles because I have one pan. The thing is, I can get more pans. I don't know.
Hey, less dishes.
Yeah, less dishes. And the one time I ventured out, I went and bought a pan and realized I had know nothing about pans. So I
No,
got like
there's
one
a-
of those
there's
griddle
a-
ones, and I was like, this thing sucks.
There's a specific type. Like Kirsten really hopped on that. She gets the same type of pans
We did the stone pans. Like they're made of stone, I guess.
Stone and cast iron.
Okay,
They
cast iron's
really-
the way to go.
Yeah, those really hit.
Oh, dude, my grandma used to use her cast iron. And I would love when like she'd make these biscuits and eggs, and then a little bit of her Winston cigarette would just spill off into the eggs, and you could kind of taste the
I
ash,
felt
and you
that
knew you were home.
there.
You knew you were home. It was just like butter, bacon, biscuits, and cigarette ash. Oh God,
All right, so we really are talking about childhood trauma.
I do miss her. I miss
You know
her
what?
so
You know
much.
what's really what's funny about our meals that Kirsten learned about us sometimes. She wasn't really about it. There used to be like
Another jab.
for example like the
I blessed him the first episode. Third episode is
yeah.
all the bad things.
He's like, yeah, literally the first episode, he's like, yeah, and it's just being amazing having your partner who's there
Yeah,
behind you.
right.
This episode's been like, yo, Target, I'm worried
Yeah.
about my credit card. You do something else she does? Like, it's only episode 3, dude.
I never actually thought about it until Kirsten brought it up. But
Yeah.
for example, like when my family cooked, let's say pasta, right?
Okay.
So they would get maybe like
Are we talking legit pasta or like hamburger helper?
no legit pasta,
Okay,
legit
all right.
pasta, and it would
So my
be
mom
like,
would make pasta too, all right?
It would be this
Oh,
massive pot, and it would be like 10, maybe a little bit more boxes of pasta, and they would cook pasta for like
Yeah, you
the
got a family
week.
of like 15, don't
No,
you?
but like the week basically.
Oh.
So everyone would eat pasta, and that pan would just be put in the fridge or somewhere, maybe
No,
like
in
the
the
oven or somewhere. It just sits with aluminum foil, and we would eat that for like a week. It
Wow,
would just
yeah.
sit there.
Yeah.
And then Kirsten was like, "Did you guys ever get like sick?" And no, we just kind of, we were always winging it.
Dude, your family is the reason the air fryer was invented and the crock pot.
Which I'm thankful for.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
love
dude.
my air fryer.
Bro,
Dude.
Oh, he just
You
got
wanna
me
say-
the double one.
Oh,
for
that does
Christmas.
hey,
both?
that double one is no joke.
That snaps.
Yeah.
Think about purchases. That
Yeah,
one.
my lady
know-
just showed me that one. Like we cooked in a butternut squash in it for the first time, and I
Oh.
shouldn't have been as amazed as I was. I was like, in 8 minutes? It
No, no.
does that
It's
in
crazy.
8
You want to know what you can do? You can cook a steak and a potato, and they'll finish at the same time.
God, it just doesn't feel right.
No,
oh,
that's
but
actually-
you wouldn't
that
cook a
was
steak
clutch.
in
It
there,
was-
right?
No, you can.
No, you can.
Oh, it just doesn't feel right. I don't know why.
I mean, I
It feels
get- I
wrong
get
to
why
cook
you'd
a
be
steak in an
nervous,
air
yeah.
fryer. It's like I'm gonna microwave the bacon. I hate when people microwave bacon, and that's a thing, dude. If you go to a homie's house and they microwave the bacon, leave,
Oh,
get
Yeah,
out of there.
yeah.
I'm not into that. I
That's-
didn't grow up with a microwave.
Comes out looking like
Yeah,
that, like
right.
McDonald, like flimsy. You know what I'm
Hey,
talking
can we tell
about?
that story though? Do you want to
Which
tell?
one?
Do you want to tell the story about the donut in the microwave?
Oh my gosh.
Okay, so-
yeah, I didn't grow up with a microwave.
Okay.
Okay, I was actually not allowed to use one.
Oh, maybe
Hey.
not middle class.
So- I was
Well,
not
no, this was-
allowed.
This
yeah,
was
right.
this was so funny in our old house.
Because they kept giving you allowance. You guys couldn't get a microwave. They're like, which one do you want? Kirsten have an allowance or a family microwave?
Where's the pick or choose?
Yeah.
literally. No,
Sorry.
Okay, but,
No.
but okay, so I had this cinnamon bun. There was a glue-free cinnamon bun.
Cinnamon bun, that's what it
that I was
was.
very excited to
It was in
have,
the wrapper,
okay? I was
too.
so
Okay, you
excited.
guys
It was-
promised donut. Let's move
it
to
was-
cinnamon bun.
Yeah.
Stay with us, guys.
Yeah,
Stay with us.
So I put it in the microwave. It said do it for a minute or two. So
Bro.
I put it in there, and all of a sudden a big pop goes like, and like louder than that, obviously. And we're
no, but you gotta
flipping
skip
out.
it. You skip the one, the
What
part
I
where
skip?
you asked me about it. We're watching
yeah.
we're watching a movie, and I walked away from the living room for a second. As I walked back in, she goes, babe, are you hearing that sound? And I was like, and I didn't know she put something in the microwave. Are you hear that sound? And I was like, what sound? And as I say it, all I hear is
Like an explosion. The whole thing exploded.
bro,
We're
our
freaking
microwave
out.
is fuming
Yeah.
with smoke.
And of course
Fuming.
we call emergency. 'cause
Bro.
we don't know
911. Yeah, I put it in too long.
Bro,
I don't know. what to
kid you
tell
not. The guy on 911, I
laughing.
call
He
him.
was laughing at
He
me.
starts laughing. And he,
Well, yeah,
He starts
dude.
laughing.
Yeah, he's like, hold on. You didn't know how to use a microwave?
Yeah.
No, he goes, he goes, did you guys try opening the back
Not
door
that.
yet? Did you guys try opening the back door yet?
Yeah, so I don't use microwaves.
Oh man, you know what? This actually makes me curious. What's like the okay? Did you always want like an apartment or a home growing up? Was like that like the big thing? Like when you knew, okay, this was going to be my career. One of my big goals is I want to get this. Like when you first moved into your apartment and stuff like that, did you think adulting was going to be as hard as it actually is, or were you kind of had this misconception that it was going to be this like
Well-
super easy thing?
Well, I will say no. I was always very concerned
Okay.
about what I was actually gonna end up doing
What do you
For-
think's the hardest thing?
for a big. Well, I mean, the hardest thing is for me is honestly just being able to maintain all your responsibilities, and then keeping accountability, because you have way more responsibility now. And I didn't necessarily know what that was gonna entail when, let's say, like when I moved to LA, you know, so I was literally figuring it out day by day. And even when I got my, you know, first apartment, it was a really big, it was a very big like wow factor.
Right.
When I walked in there, because it was the first time I got my own anything.
So
I
the
was
North Hollywood one?
the North Hollywood one, yeah.
That was a good
top
spot.
floor.
Yeah.
This
Good time.
man, Caleb,
Hey.
this man, look, I lived in the like a lower floor.
Yeah.
And he
That was a
goes
very
out-
big manifest
he goes
moment.
Out, it was my first apartment by myself. He looks up and he says, "I'm gonna live in that one."
Well,
And then he
what I
moves there
what I said was
next year.
what I said was I pointed at it from her balcony, and I was like, damn, like that apartment looks nice. I wonder what it looks like inside. I want it.
Oh wow.
And then I got it the next year. And it was kind of surreal, but I feel like when I remember literally I didn't even have a couch. I sat on the floor of the living room, and I didn't even know whether to feel excited or to feel like I just hit a whole new wave of responsibility.
Yeah, and you enjoyed? Did you enjoy it? Like, I know you got the whole new wave of it, but did you enjoy it? Because I personally have such a nomadic indulgence in me that, you know, I'm always flopping between like, man, I want my apartment, I want my place, I want my beacon, I want to deck it out, I want to do all that. And then there's also part of me that's like, I want to sell all this as fast as possible and not own anything and be able to just go do whatever. It's like, what was...
So I didn't really, that apartment, I actually didn't even really decorate, though I love customization and building something as your own. I don't think I felt that way about a home until the one we're in right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Also,
that's when we really started building. But overall, like kind of growing into that phase, it's almost more so like scary when you first hop into it versus then hard, because you're like, whoa, okay, how do I do this? And you're like, I got to figure it out. I've always thought about this scenario, but now I'm here. Now I got to figure it out.
You know what I did? I always played the MASH game as a child. So I would circle, you know, you'd end up with the ones that you wanted.
Yeah.
That's about as far as I got with like a house. But but you know, I think that
MASH game, that's
the MASH game was
hilarious.
the best, okay? It was the best game.
Is that the paper with the circle thing?
Yeah, and you like do your car and your band that you're gonna get and everything.
That's funny.
I will say for me in that, I never actually had a vision of a home.
Oh, okay.
Like
I guess
never
same.
I never was like, oh, if I get a house, I'm successful. I was kind of like, I want to travel the world and I want to see weird things, and I want to like, I could care less if I was living on a plane, you know. But I think that there was something so special about having a home base.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. The older I get, it's like I guess so. You know, actually, okay, here's Brandon, this is a great question for you, especially for this generation. This is the one thing I think about. Renting or buying? Like,
Good
what,
question.
at the end of the day, like, when are you really seeing the benefits and when are you not? I mean, I guess, like, living in a city like LA, right? It's, you know, I could see buying if you were ever able to buy, right? I can see how it's a benefit out here, but it's like in the long run, what are you losing and what are you gaining? Like I feel like if I just jumping into this, still, you know, young adult, still I'm getting a little up there, but
Oh my gosh, 26.
adult, yeah, 26, yeah.
What are you calling us, Jake? 29.
Well,
Smoke your
I
roll.
mean, no, but I am curious though. It's like, you know, what is the smarter choice? Because sometimes like, oh damn, I'm renting, I feel like I'm bleeding out. But also sometimes like, okay, you buy a home, you mortgage it, and then I guess you could put that mortgage, you if you want to sell it, you can sell it with whatever the mortgage is, and you can get out of there with some money, hopefully.
Jake, you
But it's
just
like-
got the look, and then he was gonna go into
Oh, I know.
You did. Yeah.
I know. Okay,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
I
yeah.
want to. So like from your perspective, I want to hear, like, hit us with it.
Well, so it's interesting because I feel like everyone is very scared to walk into that first property, right? It's also very nerve-wracking, and you know, when you're working with people who are buying a property, it's one of the biggest financial decisions someone makes. So it is scary when you've never done it before. Now, ultimately, I'm always going to say owning real estate is going to be better than renting, right? Now, this is based upon like if you can do the city of where you're living in, right? but necessarily that doesn't necessarily always have to be like your home, right? So it's like
Right.
when someone comes to me and they're like, look, I have some money to invest in like an asset, I want to buy some property, but I don't know if I want to buy my house because I want to be in my rental. It's like, okay, let's look at the income
Mm,
properties. You know what
okay.
I mean? Like, so you can stay renting, but then you can now build monthly cash flow,
Oh,
right?
okay. So that's
So
an interesting aspect. Real quick, sorry for interrupting. I have just like one more question to
yeah.
feed into this. So let's say you had X amount, you came into the party, and you're like, should I, with this money, get a rental property
Hmm.
and then stay within my means right
Hmm.
now? Like, let's say it's like my means are X, and I have this money though. So instead of getting a home, should I get an investment property?
Hmm.
And for the money I make from that, keep renting what I'm renting and stay here and let that grow?
Hmm.
Or would you say just go ahead and dive into like your first home?
Yeah. So depending on how much you're also paying a month for rent and then
Right.
also your qualifications. So let's say like if you are qualified to get like a home
Mm-hmm.
and you still have obviously your income to maintain your lifestyle and everything else you're doing, I'm going to tell you naturally it's better to get into a home,
Okay.
right? Because then your rent is just basically as you said, it's just kind of it's going to your rent. It's not growing anything, right?
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes a lot of people don't realize that, when you are buying an asset like your home, yeah, you're paying a mortgage, but naturally, let's say like in like a year, especially in like the Los Angeles market,
Okay.
the appreciation, we're in the highest appreciation in America,
Right.
right? So it's like within like a year and a half, you technically have equity to use if you wanted to either pull and let's say then you want to buy an investment property
Right.
or if you want to move out of your house and rent it and then go to a rental income, let's say you can buy like a 3 unit rental income, you can live in one and rent out the other two. But then
Okay.
but then your house is now a rental income, right?
Right. And you live with the cautions that comes
Right,
with.
right.
Yeah.
There's so many avenues to go about it, but ultimately if someone is qualified to purchase a property,
Mm-hmm.
I'll try to show them and understand that it's going to be more beneficial for you in the long run to own
Mm-hmm.
versus to rent because someone can rent
Yeah.
year after year after year after year just off being scared of pulling the trigger.
Right. And
You
do
know?
you think it's realistic though? Because it's like you always hear like 20% down, 10% down, like especially the younger generation and stuff, man. It's like wh- that just seems so impossible sometimes.
Yeah.
It's like 20% down. It's like great. So I can get this house, but what can I live off of? And I know it's like, well, don't go buying
Yeah.
past your means. But if you told anyone that a lot of this generation, it's like
Yeah.
past their means, dude, everything's going up. Like, what would you tell
Well,
someone?
the only thing too is I would also tell someone because I hear this a lot. I would
Mm-hmm.
tell someone not to get stuck in the past. And what
Oh,
I
okay.
what I mean by that though is because people would be like, well, 20% down in like the 90s was like this X amount of money. And then my response is usually, well, we're not in the 90s.
Mm.
So you can't compare the 90s market to,
You're like,
to
look at me.
like today's market. Yeah. And then like, a lot of people will also question like, like the 3% interest rate we had during the first year of COVID.
Right.
And the people that got those rates are like they're amazing, they're blessed, but we're not there anymore. So we have to work with where we are at, right?
Right. Right.
So I think too with people putting down payments, because there is people that can acquire like let's say something for 5-10% down, right? But
Right.
then with like today's interest rates being slightly higher, you also have to like try to
Slightly.
get creative,
Right.
get creative with helping clients get deals.
Right.
So for example, like a lot of buyers that will come to me don't know that they can get their interest rate bought down by like a seller if you negotiate it in the contract.
Oh,
Right.
snap.
That's why you
So-
have a good agent that
Yeah.
actually is there for your benefit.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Protect
like,
you.
so like you could still, if you get creative with the deal in today's market where the activity is not as high as it was,
Mhm.
there's more power in the buyer's court right now
Mm.
because you can actually negotiate deals like that.
Yeah, man.
A lot of people don't know you can actually buy down your interest rate,
Mm-hmm.
but if you negotiate it where the seller pays, you're technically not paying for that buy down.
Yeah. See, all this stuff is so valuable because I don't know. Like, okay, I I just don't feel like this generation is taught enough about like
Right.
gaining, long-term investments or stuff like that. Like when it comes to house and stuff, like I know you can go and search for it and figure it out and stuff
Yeah.
like that. But it's like we're just so ill-informed, and especially if you didn't come from a family that has a history of how to be smart with money, it's like it's almost like we want to keep the general populace stupid with how they handle money. Like,
It's all
actually,
system.
It really is.
Liz and I were talking about this yesterday, and we were basically just talking about how, um, you know, when you tell someone, look, you could get $5,000 right
Mhm.
now, or I can give you like $10,000 at 1,000 a month, right? And for over the next 10 months, you'll get 1,000. The person's like, I want the 5,000 right now, because the realistic thing is, like, for the most part, it's like, why do we? It's like, yeah, I understand why people indulge and why they spoil and why they give themselves this thing, because it's easy to be like, oh, why didn't you save? When you don't fundamentally teach people the values of what that means, like getting a
Right.
house or
Right.
investing in stuff. And I still till this day think there's gatekeeping. Like, I still till this day think there's a sort of like, here's a trinkle, and what we do trinkle isn't this. And then you have so many YouTubers and stuff like that. It's like, well, follow my thing and it's gonna work out and stuff. It's like, it's such a scary world to operate in right now, regardless of profession, regardless of what you're doing. And also, what's even crazier too is we live in this world right now where it's like, it's hard to justify doing X profession, or like, oh, you work your way up in this company, or oh, go get this degree, or blah, blah, blah. When, like, we've seen from social media and stuff, it's like, this is the day and age of entrepreneurial,
You got it. You got it.
that thing. This is the day of that thing, as my tongue doesn't want to work.
That thing.
Yeah, where no, it's true. Where this generation understands that you don't have to be the workhorse. You don't have to work under this thing. So they want to also accrue their own money. And it's like,
it's a fine line between ignorance and quick fix.
Yeah.
And then like building and patience.
Yeah.
'Cause-
And
and things.
It's true, and it's like you guys are saying, like, knowledge is also a very big factor in it, right? So it's
Right.
like, even like with people, you're saying like housing too, like people don't realize that if you're thinking about buying a house, go get pre-qualified. A pre-qualification
No,
doesn't
I don't
lock you,
even-
it doesn't lock you in anything,
Right.
but you at least understand your numbers.
But that's the thing. I don't think that's like, I'd almost like to argue that I just don't feel like that's sold in attainable way to people. And I don't know if maybe it's such an old way of doing things that this new generation doesn't understand it. But it's like, I feel like we need a better approach to like pre-qualified. Like, for most, I bet if you went out on the street and asked most people, they wouldn't know what the hell that is. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, it's so interesting to me.
I think a lot of people are trying not to be like their parents.
Right.
That it's kind of like, I'm gonna do it different.
Yeah.
But I think that there's something, and I would love to ask, like, in your family home, what are some top tips that you did learn that you're gonna bring out into the world? Because I think, and some that you won't, because I think that we devalue tradition. We devalue consistency, and we devalue the determination and persistence pursuit of something. We get too quick to get rid of it because it's not working.
Right. Yeah.
And even like, let's just say, when you're asking for knowledge, a lot of the time we don't want to hear it
Right.
because my opinion matters.
Right. Or yeah.
Right.
Or it's like, if we went and sought after it, it was something we did, so we get to own it. And it's like
Exactly.
it's like the hubris or the ego being like, well, I can't take that from you because I didn't acquire that, and that feels like I'm stealing or something like that. But I don't know. That's actually where a very interesting thing comes in my case, because my dad's a super hard worker, and my mom had a master's degree and stuff, and like both super well educated parents and stuff like that. But it was also just hard. It was hard to like get good jobs and stuff. And so, we didn't need for much. Like, we were always very lucky. We had a food on the table, and rooms, like shared rooms and stuff like that, like our brother and sister. But when we moved to LA to help me pursue this career, like, we took a lot of sacrifices, you know what I mean? And so, like, we never really grew up in that house, and we never really, and stuff like that. And like student loan debt and stuff like that. It's like, I saw that with like what my parents struggled and stuff with. So what was really tough is, when I started working, I started seeing money that like my core family had never seen before. So there wasn't really tips or strategies or like, other than the fact that like, I know what it's like to stress about money and feel like you never have enough of it. And I know I didn't want to do that. And like my mother and father instilled a lot of great things in me about that and stuff like that. But I really had no guide. And it's like, oh, well, you should have gone and asked and stuff. It's like, yeah, totally. But it's just like there's no rite of passage. You don't know what
Like
to do.
you're figuring it out
You're
as you go.
completely figuring it. I just made so many stupid purchases and stuff. It's like, and luckily I was able to, through an amazing team of people and mentor, get like a business manager, and he taught me how to do stuff. And you start learning. It's like, yeah, man, I was doing taxes by myself, like just being like, I'll figure this out, and got screwed. And you learn through that, but that's not a process I want people going through. But it's a serious struggle, and it happens to a lot of people. It's like my parents, very intelligent people, very very money savvy in their own ways and stuff like that. But
that's why
when I got to them with that with like those amounts and stuff, they were by no means nothing like crazy, but it was like a substantial amount, all things considered, what we were used to. And it was just them kind of like, we don't know, like just try to be smart with it, or don't do. It's like, it's so tough. Like,
that's always why I was wondering, because in schools they don't teach you about finances. They don't teach you about credit. They don't. It's crazy because
on purpose.
And look at America. I mean, you can't really do anything in America without credit.
Oh, dude.
So it's like,
that was the one tip. That was
one
my
of the
parents'
biggest thing.
That was the one tip my parents were like, make sure your credit is good. That was the one tip I got, was if you can get to a point to where almost everything is on credit cards and never really your debit card, and you're building your credit and stuff like that. And or stuff about your car, like your car should maybe be like 10% of what your income is, or little things like that. Don't live above your means, and all that. But it's also, it's just hard. It's just hard. And I guess that's why I wanted to get into it, like talking about like the housing market and stuff like that for this generation. Because I also think I think of my little sister who works her butt off at her job, and you look at the hours and you look at the rates, and it's like, it is hard. Like it's hard for people.
The system is actually to create workers. The school system was built to create workers.
Right.
So to create puppets, truly.
Right. Yeah.
And when you have people who step outside of that, you're actually going against the grind. You're going against a machine.
Right.
And so unless you're willing to push through, which is hard, you will be stuck, or something, in something that you don't want to be stuck in.
Yeah. And this generation knows that the most, I'd say.
Yes.
They are the most aware of
it. Yeah. But I will say at the same time, though, is that instead of, again, that quick fix of like, I could do anything I want to make money in this generation, anything I want to. But what is it building? For longevity? What is something that I'm actually taking with me through generations and generations and generations and generations? Because I think that that's something important that we're not taught, is that's again what we started off with in our first episode, community.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so like in that, having home, like building wealth. Wealth is different than riches. Okay,
100%.
Riches are like, oh yeah, I'm savvy, maybe. Wealth is like, no, this is long term.
Yeah.
And this is not just
that goes hand in hand with like earning and being able to maintain.
Right.
And that's the same thing with investments.
That was the one thing I was talking with my girlfriend about, though. Is this the one thing I was talking about? It's like at the same time though, like, you can't judge people for what they choose to buy either. Like if you're like, I think about that all the time. Like, it's so easy to be like, oh, they did brand name, or oh, they're driving around in this and stuff and they can't afford it. It's like, yeah, but at the same time, it's sure there are quote unquote dumb ways to spend your money and smart ways to do it. But it's like, at the end of the day, who am I to take gratification from someone that it's like, look, they worked their ass off doing whatever they're doing. If they want to get that thing, they get that thing.
Like
and you
Amazon
could be
packages.
like, oh, why won't you wait? It's like, why won't you wait? Or why won't you invest? It's just like, you can't beat that over someone's head either, because it's just like, it's what you put your work into to satisfy yourself. And you can argue, what about long-term and stuff? But it's a hard argument.
I will say though, it's not about judgment. It's about, like, for myself. Okay.
Yeah.
I see my cycles.
Right.
And if I'm continuing my cycles, then I'm actually, I'm screwing myself over.
Totally.
You know what I mean? And so I think that, again, coming back to like what we said in previous episodes, accountability people, like people who are actually looking at you and saying, hey, there's another option if you want it. Because I think that a lot of time we get scared to actually correct direction and have discipline. Discipline is something that's actually important. It's in love. It's saying that I'm choosing to see you as a whole rather than like a whole like ability of like your greatest potential.
Right.
And greatest potential is different in many forms. Like that could be like, I'm an awesome school teacher who loves children and I want to spend every day with them, or I'm someone who owns a whole city, like
Yeah.
it's not about that, but it's, are you, again, I guess in that, in your wealth is what you value.
Mm-hmm. And also just giving up. I think one of the hardest things is giving up being comfortable.
Yes.
Is so
Facts.
it's so difficult. It's so hard that I understand why people quit. Like I understand why people quit. I understand why people like want to start something. I get why New Year's resolutions don't make it's hard. When you, especially as you get older and you start figuring yourself out and everything, it's like to branch out of that realm of being comfortable in any category is so difficult, and it always worth it in the end. But it's very humbling. Like if when you're really good at something, but it's just not like it's not doing what you thought it would do, and you have to start over. That sucks.
It does.
Like that sucks so hard. I don't
of
think
course.
I've
like
had to
it's
restart over and over
yeah,
again.
yeah. It's like
That's
it's
a
terrible.
It's gonna hit the mentality.
Yeah, man.
Even harder to continue.
Yeah, and so that's why it's like I completely understand this like ongoing struggle that everyone's talking about with, they're talking about, well, this generation's getting married less. This generation is less preoccupied with sex than every other generation and stuff like. It's like, yeah, I understand, because they're just stressing the hell out about who they are, what they're going to make. Like it's hard as hell to go to your job, your minimum wage job, your hard, like this job that you need to pay the bills, and then you scroll TikTok and you're like, you know what? I'm actually gonna just start vlogging my life because I can like possibly make more money in this. Dude, I get it. Dude, it is hard, and it's
why we're busy bodies, because you're trying to tap into so many different things.
well, and
Right,
again,
right.
it's like it's no different. It's like this industry too. Every time a job's over, I'm sitting here thinking like, oh man, maybe I should go probably wait tables down the street now, or maybe or it's like I guess shit. I need to start singing a lot of covers on TikTok
Well,
right now. I
it's-
got to get stuff going, because you're just always like, the minute you start sitting still, you're like, wow.
Well, that goes hand in hand with what you said in the first episode.
About rest.
Is that rest is so key.
Rest is so
it's
hard.
so hard to sit there and just be like in peace.
Yeah.
Just be in that moment. You feel like you're missing out of
Rest
something.
is so boring. it's so fundamental, but it's so boring. I hate doing nothing.
I saw a conversation not too long ago with someone who was like all about like the evenings. Like the evenings are to like unwind, and he was questioning the other guy, and he was like, how do you see like your evening as unwinding? Like I need like a cool down, I need to slow down. And then the other guy is like on it 24/7. He's like, why do you gotta cool down, bro? You just keep it going. He's just keep it going. And you kind of
Amen.
saw in that video, it was like two completely different mindsets.
Yeah.
But then the thing is, we were also saying too, is like the one that says keep it going, like you can really only keep it going for so long.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're
your
eventually
body will
gonna hit
tell
a
you.
crash.
Yeah, there was a few years ago I learned the process of slowing down. It goes back to what we were talking about being present. It's just a very difficult thing, and I don't know. I think maybe it is the influence of like scrolling and all, and something's always happening. You're always getting a notification for something. Something's always happening.
Right.
And I think probably more than ever, and again, I have conversations with my sister all the time about this. She's a few years younger than me, and we just talk about how, she's like, I always feel like I could be doing more. I always feel like I could be doing more.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it's weird because I'm like that all the time. I could finish something I've been working towards forever, and then the next day be like, all right, what do I have to do now? And I was talking to her, and you talk to anybody, everyone feels like they could be doing more.
Oh yeah.
Right.
And I feel like that is a sickness that has spread in our generation more than ever. It's like we can't slow down, because the minute you wake up, you're like, oh, well, people are doing this, and I know it's comparison, but
Well,
it's like it's like I
yeah.
could be doing more. I could be doing this. I could be doing that. It's like it's crazy. I feel it every day of my life, and I try to remedy it.
But that's why it will never bring satisfaction.
No,
the
it
problem
won't.
the problem is that these worldly things that we've invented to
Mhm.
be our priorities are
Yeah.
actually not eternal things.
Yeah.
So they're not going to satisfy you. And that's the thing, is like that's why the rest and the presence and these different things, purpose, and when you're in your community or when you help somebody out, you
Mhm.
feel more like successful. than any other moment in the world. And that's why our focus has to shift, because our focus is on things that don't actually move and are worthless.
Yeah.
They're just supposed to be tools.
Yeah. And everything technically is it's right in front of us too, which is not always a good thing either. I don't know if you guys saw, I try to just stay on top of like businesses and what's going on, but like look at like Mark Zuckerberg, you know, he's being I don't know if you saw the questioning.
Yeah.
But they're basically saying that like, you know, like majority of social media is like impacting the world in like a negative way, or maybe quote it down to like, let's say like Facebook and Instagram specifically.
Right.
You know, and you
Meta.
know his Meta.
Yeah.
Thank you. And his fight is like, well, you know, we've never really said that, and they tried to get him on his case study because they're like statistically, the more and more people are getting affected negative in a negative way, and it's like impacting a majority part of the world, the audience.
Right.
So,
and it's so difficult because I think it's in a situation where you can always tell people, it's like, well, just stay off of it. Stay off. It's like, okay, great.
easier said than done.
But well, easier
But
said than done.
Also, like, why? Like, there's not. You have to. We live here,
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So, and again, I like what you're focused on. So if I'm focused on Instagram being my only sole thing, then yeah, you're gonna fall.
Right.
You know, but nowadays that's your business card.
Right.
That is so crazy.
That's
that
why
is
it's
100% your business card.
Yes.
these
It's a
days.
tool.
Yeah.
It's a tool.
When's the last time you were like, hey, let me get your number? It's always, hey, what's your Instagram?
Let me follow
yeah.
you on Instagram.
Let me follow you on
Yeah.
Instagram.
Especially because you meet like 1,000 people a day
Yeah.
here. Like, do you know how many names I used to memorize every single name that I was in a room with?
Oh
I was
god,
like,
my contacts
brain-
are always just
Oh.
like Jim with white shirt or Sandra. that chick
Oh my
you met
gosh.
last week.
But Instagram changed the game.
so bad.
It did, because now I'm like, okay, I know this person. Where do I know them from?
Yeah.
And then you like go on your Instagram, you're like, and your light bulb turns. You know?
It's funny.
Right.
That's so accurate.
Yeah. And so that's the thing, is like, it's part of the culture we live in. It's accessible to us. Things are, it's funny because it's like we get new tools with the same like, what is the word? Like the same purpose.
Yeah, it's just
New
it's
tool,
also
same purpose.
Yeah, it's like you just got to flip the script, right?
Yeah.
Because literally all of this can help anyone succeed, or it's a very beneficial tool in today's day and age for any sort of business, any sense of communication, anything.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I don't know, man, because I also don't want to be, you know, the people that are just like hating on it all the time, because I know there's so many benefits to
Oh my
it.
gosh, yes.
It's just like I have such a love-hate relationship. I'm always going back and forth. I also notice, like, I don't know about you guys, but just how you guys ever talk, like, they talk about being, I know this is like going left of center real quick, but they talk about like cyborgs and stuff. We're already cyborgs if you think about it. Like hear me out real quick. I didn't smoke before this, I promise. But it's like when you use your phone, okay, you're using it as an extension of yourself, and it is technology. And we have this thing called it's called second knowledge or whatever. Have you ever been in an argument with someone and you're just like, you know that you can prove this, but you can only prove it by using your phone to look something up? You know what I mean? No, that's not what happened. Let me show you. And you look it up.
Yeah.
That's being a cyborg. You're using a second brain. You know what I mean? If you're like, it was so crazy thinking about this. It is not just something we use. It is literally a part of us. It's like our second brain. It's like, no, we use it for arguments. We use it for justifications. We use it for fighting, for helping. It is like an extension now. And that's why also I think it's so hard to justify the lack of use and the good and bad of it, because it's almost like a pair of glasses to see. It's like, it is literally like,
We're just waiting for the glasses where we see everything.
yeah, it's literally, oh, those look so bad. By the way, I'm be sitting there on my couch getting nothing done.
Yeah.
No,
I was also gonna say, wait till we have the Tesla bots and in our houses.
Dude, that's just basically iRobot. That's just gonna be Will Smith slapping robots.
Have you seen them in the Century City? Tesla
Oh
store?
god, no.
No, they're massive.
Oh,
They're
dude.
massive.
They are pretty massive. I will tap into that a little bit because I think
Yeah.
that that's actually a really interesting point.
Mhm.
And I definitely can say, yeah, that makes sense.
Right.
Because also everything's frequency based.
Sure. Right.
So
right,
like
right.
you're connecting constantly, and
Yeah.
all light and energy, and like what we use for our cell phones and all these different things, all
Mhm.
come from the natural sources of what the earth already provided.
Right.
And
Right.
they actually, trees communicate like that underneath the ground.
Yeah.
And if you like go and touch like I forget what it's called. It's like a little machine that goes to like plants or rocks or different things.
Mhm.
They have a song.
Oh.
They sing. They are present. A tomato plant I learned
I'm
the other
like
day.
so curious
Like-
what lettuce sounds like.
No, seriously. There's this guy I follow, which is again like such an interesting thing.
Yeah.
But as a musician, I'm fascinated by it because that's why even the things we proclaim and
Yeah.
say and talk,
Yeah.
they have power. Like that whole science thing where it's like a plant life.
They put it on the
death.
tomato. It's like Colt 45.
Yeah, go, no, oh my gosh.
It's like a carrot sounds like Biggie.
But like a tomato plant is actually
Why
really
did I just
wild.
picture that?
Yeah.
You're like, I am buying these.
These are
These
great.
are ready to go.
I'm gonna start rap. That's your key into rapping, Brandon. But I
Like
learned another
VeggieTales
thing.
is onto something. man, I'm
VeggieTales is
telling you.
on something.
Oh my god.
But a tomato plant, when the worm or the caterpillars are coming to eat it,
Uh-huh.
it sends off a signal to all the other tomato plants to release a poison, so that the caterpillars eat themselves. I think that's crazy. Like the fact that nature does these weird
These
things.
caterpillars were like, sorry, tomato,
Yeah,
we didn't
like,
understand
yeah.
your game. We're out of here. Imagine
yo,
being
you're-
like,
you're
that's
out.
what crazy self-defense is. Just like they're gonna start eating themselves. They're like, you know what? I'm not even hungry for you. I'm gonna eat myself.
Yeah,
I'm
like,
sorry.
what? No, like, but that's the thing is like when you're saying cyborg of things and like second brains,
Right.
no matter what we're actually like, that's why people go into nature and you feel different and you're touching things.
Right.
Because
right.
trees hold memory, they hold water, they hold information.
Mhm.
The earth holds information. And so we're just re-putting it into like a different
Yeah.
thing. And I think that that's something that is a fun thing to think about.
Yeah,
There's,
man.
you could go down some dark, deep holes
From interest rates and housing to
Ugh.
trees
singing.
singing. That's that's
I mean, even the fact of birds are wild. Yeah, like birds, they have like if you see a pigeon, I think it's a pigeon or a seagull, and they see your face, they'll talk to everybody about your face and remember you.
like, that dude is
Hey,
the ugliest
hey.
dude I've ever
Hey.
seen. All the picture up, you're like, yeah, that dude was like,
Yo,
crap.
never
Isn't
fly to
that
that
weird,
guy's house.
though?
That
Like,
guy is not gonna do
what?
anything for you.
Pigeon's like, you owe me $5, dude. I
You owe me
remember.
$5.
I remember your ass. I know it.
They also live really long. Like they live like
you think the
100.
pigeons are also talking about interest rates? You know?
Yeah, probably.
Just-
They're buying
Yo,
homes.
I gotta buy this nest. I gotta buy this. That's all the other house.
Dude, it's a great nest. Great nest.
Hey,
the
that's a
owners
tree
were.
that's
The
been standing for 20
tree.
years.
Oh my god, man.
Okay, but we're gonna swipe over. I want to know, like, when did you know that you wanted to be in the entertainment and why? And when did you know you wanted to be in real estate? And
Man,
why?
from judging pigeons to why I chose the job I chose.
So we could jump.
Honest to God, I don't even know if I chose it as much as just like I've been thinking about this a lot lately. You know, it was one of those things that just kind of happened. And as I got older and we were doing it and stuff, it's like it kept working. So I didn't really know. Like, I'll be honest, as a kid, I wasn't like, I always wanted to be an actor. I always wanted to be a musician. I just knew I liked entertaining people. Like I enjoyed that feeling of like when you make people laugh or when you do something right, childhood drama. You just like enjoying
We did say we'd talk about it.
enjoying attention. Like, but yeah, I think that's what it was. And I felt like I was just good at something.
Yeah.
You know, and so the more I did it and the more I did it, it kind of kept working. And then there's also this thing that really screws you up when you start as a kid. You hear so many people go like, wow, you're so good at this for so young. You're gonna have such a big career ahead of you. And then you get scared that like as you get older, you're like, oh wow, I'm just going to be old and doing this, or you know what I mean? Not old, but you know what I mean? I'm just going to be doing this.
Right.
And that's where you start really questioning, wait, do I like what I'm doing? So it took me I'm always kind of wondering how much I love it and how much I don't love it. And I totally think it's kind of BS where people's like, you got to love it all the time.
Yeah.
And if it's not something you wake up and think about and everything, it's like, you don't actually love it. Da, da. It's like, no, I think it's okay to kind of hate it sometimes and have to remind yourself why you do love it. And I think it's okay to venture out and come back
Right.
and everything. Cause it's like now at this point in my life, when I'm like not working, I'm just auditioning and stuff again. I love it more than I ever have. I love it more than when I was working, you know? And it's like, it's this weird thing. So I don't really know if I could say, like, when we got into it, I was like, this is something I always want to do. It just kind of worked itself into what it is now. It's also all I know. It's all I know. It's what I've done my entire life. And in some ways that's scary, and in some ways it's also like cool, but you know, I've had a very specific life because of it, and met a lot of people and been in a lot of situations. But yeah, I don't know. It's always like a constant love and hate, and especially doing music too. I always go back and forth. I think, you know, what some things I love about music, I love those aspects because of what you can't do in acting and stuff like that. But I don't know. It's always changing. It's
Yeah.
always changing. You know, I love it till I don't. And then when I don't love it, I start loving it again. So I don't know. I mean, I know that's probably not the most inspirational answer. Like if you were playing like orchestral music behind me, they'd be like, okay.
But also, I think that it's really raw, and
Yeah.
I think that people appreciate that because, I mean, not using like go off into someone else, but it's like marriage or anything important to you. Like there are times where you have to wrestle with it, and in order to like reevaluate where I'm at with it, because it's a daily thing. Like you have to daily present yourself in a way that like is uncomfortable again, and exciting at times, but frustrating at times.
Yeah.
Like, you know?
Right.
So I don't know. I think that's anything that you've always, so I appreciate that because that's a very raw expression of what it means to even be a person.
Yeah. Thank you. So
Yeah.
what about you?
Yeah.
Well, I'll go to Brandon first.
Oh, yeah.
I want Brandon to do it first.
You want me to go first? Okay. Well, it's kind of I would say it's similar to what you were saying. It kind of just happened. But I am thankful that that it happened. I feel like for me, I probably did hit like a mental rock bottom when I was like 20.
I think I remember us talking about that.
Yeah, it definitely hit. And then at the same time, I was kind of already feeling like, okay, I kind of gotta like figure this out a little bit. You know, if I want to be here, I gotta have a plan, not just live day by day. And you know, I was also told by I had some family helping me at that time, and
It's all about family.
yeah, they were just like it can't happen anymore. So then I knew that it's like if I didn't figure it out, LA was gonna be in the past. And what I did know is that I wanted to be here in LA.
Right.
So I was like, okay, I got to figure this out. And I ended up getting I got a job over in a healthy grocery store over on Ventura in Studio City.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
The My Fit Foods place. Yeah, and I got a job there, and it was really interesting because I some of the jobs I was getting told to do in that store like kind of like hit me kind of low because I was like, I never saw nor wanted to do this. And not saying there's anything wrong with it. I'm just saying, just for my own mentality, I was like, there were so many things going wrong at that time that I was like, damn, this is like another thing to pile on. So I was like, I gotta switch things up. And the only thing I was good at that time that I knew was I was good at talking to people. So like every
You sure? No.
yeah
Okay.
every yeah,
One is one.
Yeah.
You've heard any previous episodes?
every single person that walked in there, I just was like communicating with. I was asking just multiple things about them, and
So what's your address?
some people wanted to talk. Some people
sorry,
didn't.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Oh
what's,
my gosh.
what's your
Shut
cell
up.
number? Let's go for
I'm so
coffee,
sorry.
something like that. But no, yeah, there was just one person that ended up coming in there. I saw them actually 4 times in 1 week. And they like brushed me off the first 3 times because they were on a phone call. So I was like, okay, I'll let it go. And then the 4th time, he ended up actually talking to me, and he's actually he's one of the owners of the real estate company I'm with now.
Full circle.
Yeah. And he was just like, hey, you ever think about getting into real estate? And I was like, yeah, I mean, I have, but I saw the license is like a year of a process. It's like too much money. I didn't have the money at the time. So he was like, he offered me, he was like, well, if I'm willing to go like get an hourly job at his office, like would I leave here? And I was like, well, yeah, like what does it entail? He's like, he gave me his card. He's like, call me. He's like, come to my office. And in all seriousness, I literally pissed him off the next day. I didn't realize it was a Sunday, and I called him over 20 times. Over 20 times in one day.
That's
And
awesome, though.
But he answered me on like the last call, and he was like, Brandon, what are you doing calling me this many times on a Sunday? Like, what do you expect?
Yeah.
And I was like, you told me to come to the office. He was like, it's Sunday.
Wow.
He's like, come tomorrow. So I was like, okay. So then I went literally the morning when they opened, and he ended up offering me he told me to be the company's receptionist for like a year.
Wow.
And then he would pay for my license, and I'll pay him back as time went on, and to be the company receptionist for a year. And I did that. And what was crazy is that the week I joined that office as the receptionist, my Fit Foods, I got a call saying they were going out of business.
Wow.
Yeah.
It almost makes me want to like
That needs
cry
some
in a
like
good way.
Rocky music behind it,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
That's a sick story.
Yeah,
My
yeah.
goodness.
And the rest, I mean, the rest is history. I'm just,
You'll hear about it soon. You know?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. The rest is history, but I'm very
Yeah.
thankful to be in that.
Well, also it just shows again what we were talking about to begin with. You pressed through, calling 20 times.
Yeah.
That's frustrating,
Yeah.
right? But it's something in you that says, I gotta have it.
Yeah, you don't
Yeah.
give up.
Yeah, no, it was hilarious.
good.
I mean, like, we'll bring him on this podcast at some point, but
Yeah.
he was pissed. He was pissed.
I'm sure you'll figure it
Yeah,
out
he was-
too. When
yeah,
you
yeah.
see him.
Yeah, it was the funniest thing ever. But sorry, continue.
Oh no, don't be sorry. I'm thankful that you share that story. I think that makes it so personable. So I literally came out singing.
Yeah.
I think my parents put headphones on the belly.
You
when I
like
was in
literally
there.
came out
Yeah, I was
singing.
like, oh. And I sang my first.
The doctor's like, we can
right.
shut her up.
Yeah, like, shh, please. Belting.
They usually come out crying, but
Yeah,
no, she's singing.
yeah.
She's singing.
She's on tune. I was like 18 months when I sang my first song, and so I was instantly on stages. Like my parents my mom sang.
Oh, right.
I'm a
right,
beautiful singer.
Yeah.
And my dad, like a businessman, loved to jam. Like, so they were just like, she sings, is awesome. So I remember I've always loved, and I used to hate this. I always loved attention, and like I loved being present, and I loved being presentable. And like I would be in a room full of adults at like a modeling thing or an acting thing, and no adult would go first. And I'd be like 3 years old and like, I'll go.
Right,
and like,
right.
You know, and
You weren't afraid.
I wasn't afraid to do what I loved to do. I sang in front of 5,000 people at 5 years old. I loved it. So for me, my journey has been understanding that it's not about the quick fix. Like I've been doing this my whole life. I'm 29, and I may never get to where I think I'm gonna go, but I've gone to places I never thought I could go, and being willing to be to let go of what I think is my career. And that's been painful. Like I've had to literally strip off things that I thought I needed to hold on to. And you know, my parents, we were well off till I was about a certain age, and we lost pretty much everything. And it's still like what Brandon, you were talking about. It's like I've never been without though.
Yeah.
Like I've actually never been without. And I think that like daring to dream, like my parents would drive, I'm the oldest of 5 kids. And at that time it was four of us. And my parents would drive 24-hour straight road trips down to Los Angeles from Canada without having a dime in their pocket. And we'd always have a place to stay. We'd always have food, and we'd always meet the right people that we needed to. And it was just about taking a chance. And I think that, that's where my love for what I do starts. Like I even, not to go into it more, but like, you know, there's a time like 2 years ago or 3 years ago now, where someone offered me, hey, you want to go to Texas for a while? And I was like, why would I go to Texas? You know, like, what do you mean? I'm in LA. I'm
Texas
an LA
is
girl.
fine. Texas is fine.
But I actually,
Why would I go to
why would I do
Texas?
that? Well, reason why
Yeah,
is
I
because I didn't understand what I was getting a gift from. And for me, I'd heard a voice that, and I just got shivers of like, hey, I have a gift for you of something you don't know about yourself. And if you want to take that chance, take it. And I was like, this is interesting. Like, it's different than what I'm used to. You know, I called him up and I was like, hey.
Like, okay, this story she caused, you know, this is for like all the men out there. Everyone's going to get a heart attack, you know, if their girl or their wife sends them this text. But I'm like doing my day-to-day business. All I do is I get a text from Kirsten saying, not even a hey babe, like a hey, we need to talk. Like Like,
That's
Drama
a
in me,
great
it's the
start.
drama.
every single man's heart will drop right there. So,
Or hey, let's go to Target, I guess.
Yeah.
Oh,
So we start recircle.
if it's a
It was
Target,
both those texts.
Yeah,
Hey, we
right?
need to go to Target, and hey, we need to talk.
It was like,
You're like grabbing your wallet and your heart.
oh
at the
my
same
No,
gosh.
for
The
the
wallet
tar-
is the heart.
for the Target text, I'm like, I lost my wallet. I lost it. Let's just close all the accounts.
Oh,
Yeah,
man.
but and we don't need to go into that story right now. But I think that there's why I say that is my career is not who I am again.
Right.
Like I am capable of the impossible. And no matter what I touch, it can grow and it can evolve. And I'm allowed, and I can give it up and I can receive it back. And it's never ending story of these beautiful moments of sacrifice and pain, but yet joy and like celebration. And I think that that's what gives us that like hate and love thing is that we get to truly ride the ride.
Yeah.
Because there are many times where I wanted to throw my own self to a wall because I'm
Right.
like, oh.
Yeah, and I mean, this can also be like, I guess this could go a certain way, but it's almost like how bad do you want it?
Yeah.
Type of thing, because you also have to trust the process. But I feel like whether it's music, acting, real estate, business, there's a lot of rejection.
Yeah.
A lot of it.
Eh,
So it's kind of hard, for like it's hard for anybody.
Yeah.
No one wants to be rejected multiple times,
Right.
and no one wants to feel like they're being used either.
Yeah.
So it's just so hard to just sometimes just like hear that, let it leave out the other ear, and then just stay in your lane and keep pushing.
Yeah, no, of course. And I also think it's like, yes, how bad do you want it? But I also think just how much of an insane privilege it is to have parents or people in your life, just one person
One.
that's like, you can do this.
Yeah.
You can do
Yeah.
because I mean, I think that's half of it. Is there's some people that don't have that.
Yeah.
They
no.
don't have that. Like I know above all else, I was just lucky to have people in my life that could say, you can do it. And that
Yeah.
believed it was going to happen. And just having that is so much more valuable
We
than
have a
anything else.
foundation.
Yeah. To have
Yeah.
someone believe in you is huge. I don't feel like
you need that support.
yeah, and I don't feel like it's a currency that many people are lucky to have. Unfortunately, I feel like there are a lot of people that just have never had someone believe in them,
Mhm.
and
they continue the cycle. That's the issue.
yeah, well,
too.
they continue the cycle, but it's like if you've never had anyone believe in you, it's kind of hard to have that strength to break out of it, because we know like cycles, we can observe them because we've had people support us and we've had people tell us about our cycles. But if you've never ever had that, it's really hard to get out of that cycle, because you don't even know what it's like to have someone help you get out of that cycle, or to have someone believe in you to give you even enough to get out of that cycle. It's like it's really tough. But I think that's one of the biggest things I gotta say.
I will say too, just from personal experience in some like family life and friends life, even though like when someone gives it to them, they don't know how to recognize it.
Right.
So I think that that's the thing is it's that's where it's sad is the victimization thing too, because there's a balance there. It's like if I've never had it, right, and then I believe that I don't deserve it, then I'm stuck there.
Right.
And so it's which is not fun and challenging, and it's obviously not as great as having someone who believes in you.
Right.
But there's also this thing in you that rises up to the occasion if you so choose to, because I know that there's like, even if you've had something, there are many people who've had all the belief, all the money, all the stuff, but they do nothing with their life and they still feel empty.
Right.
And so it's actually a true personal choice to just, and now again, even with all the information that we have, you have access to so many different things.
Yeah.
Right. And so you can find a place, just walk into a building and say, please, I need community or something, like one person to believe. And if you start believing in somebody else, like this is just a tip that I've learned. Okay. When I'm feeling sorry for myself, that's the time I stand up and I do something for somebody else. Because I'm changing the narrative. The narrative no longer has to go through the route of I'm feeling sorry for myself or no one believes in me, I'm alone, those types of things. Because I've had many times, when my family went back to Canada, I was out here, you know, alone and in those things. And I had one brother, and then, you know, I had a boyfriend at the time, but it was hard. It was weird. I had to navigate my parents went to I was blessed in this. My parents went to every studio session until I was 21 to establish respect and responsibility and covering over me. And when I had to go in alone, it was like, I had to choose to operate out of those things I had learned or heard, you know what I mean? So it goes both things, like, you know, and that's why as people who know that, I think our strongest purpose is to give that to somebody else.
Right.
That's our deep purpose in life, that we've had it, so we have to give it out, you know?
Right.
Yeah. That's just in that fact.
I think, again, it's just stuff that like is taught or you learn, or, you know, sometimes it comes into your life. I feel like everyone will experience it.
Yeah.
There's no time frame for when you experience it, but I feel like everyone will eventually have that moment. And what they do with it, you know.
Yeah. Also, I don't think it's always a magical moment.
Right.
I mean, honest, like
right.
the times that I've actually had to believe or someone believed in me was actually kind of the terriblest moment of my life.
Right.
Like, honestly though, like it's never like the rise. Like when I'm thriving, I don't need nobody to tell me nothing. You know what I mean? Like, but like when I'm like laying on the couch with like drool hanging out of my mouth, or like you know, like that's when I need somebody.
Yeah.
Like that's when I need the people, you know? So yeah, I don't know. Don't always look for the pretty moment. Look for the opportunity to, like, you know.
That's beautiful. Her book is coming out next month. And thank you so much for coming to the show.
Oh my gosh,
Don't
Jake.
Look at the Pretty Moments. The title is Be Present. We're going for a summer 2024 release.
Wow, Jake, I'm writing a book.
Yeah.
Magic.
Right there.
But I think, okay, if there's one thing you would leave people with then, on the lines of like, how would you, if you didn't have a person in your life or anyone you knew to reach out and like to be like, I believe in you and stuff, what would you guys say would be somewhere you could go, something you could do that would be the first step towards it before we leave these beautiful people?
Well, I would just basically say it's like, you know, just don't give up. You know, if you know where you want to go, if you know what you want to do.
Nice, that's safe.
That's
real safe.
If you know where you want to go,
episode 3. Okay.
you gotta basically, it's like, you know, I've always said this. It's like it's pretty funny, but it's like, you know, if you keep knocking on the door and sometimes the door is not there, you just got to find it and knock it down.
Mm-hmm.
You know, sometimes you gotta you
go.
gotta create the opportunity for yourself.
Yeah, call 20 times.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
call.
seriously?
No,
Yeah,
it's serious. It's serious.
Yeah.
I have a naturally sarcastic tone. I'm sorry.
No, I'm Canadian. We're sarcastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's basically what I would say is like, if you know where you want to be but you don't know how to get there, you know, I would just try to go to places where you know people are doing what you want to do, and just go and just try to just communicate. And I feel like in this day and age too, a lot of people are afraid to just go up and talk to new people. And I just don't think I just don't think people need to be afraid. And you'd be surprised how many people will actually be like, yeah, I can talk right now, versus like that mentality of like, they're not going to talk to me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's what I would say.
It's awesome.
Yeah. I'd honestly say too, I know it sounds sometimes it can be ridiculous. Pick up a few self-help books. I know that sounds crazy, but pick up a few. Like just one or two little small ones. Just literally, I always recommend picking up some self-help books. Truthfully, I just feel like it I don't know. I know it sounds ridiculous sometimes to people. They're like, oh, the book's going to change my life. But sometimes it can. You just like, because all you need is if you spent $12 in a self-help book you thought was tacky and you got one line that was just like, oh my God, wow, that changed. That just blew my mind. There you go. Like that just, maybe it made you look at something. Because reading a book is having a conversation with someone. If you're not good at talking to people, when you read a book, you're talking to someone. You know what I mean? An author's talking to you. You get to have a conversation. So if you're good, you're down and out, and you don't know how to talk to people, picking up a few self-help books is just having that conversation you're scared to have with people. So that will always be my recommendation. Yeah.
I'm going to tag off of it because honestly, reading is very important, but read things you're uncomfortable reading. Like read the Bible, read self-help books, read books from the like I I don't know, professors, things that you would not be interested in.
Right.
Because I swear, the more you stretch your mind's ability, perspective,
Perspective.
the more,
Perspective, yeah.
the more you're capable of. Because I'm only looking through my own lenses.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm going to look through bigger lenses, it opens up a lot more opportunities. So I would say that, and
Start small. Start with children's books. You know,
Yeah.
do the ones with more pictures. That's how I had to start.
me
you know?
too. I watch little animations that are no, in not a bad way. I
No,
think that there's
I
a
know, I'm
good
just being
thing.
smart.
But like, I know you're funny about picture books, but that's how, like, to be honest, we each have learning styles. Right?
Yeah.
We're each either visual. We need like hearing and like learn those things about yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say the next thing that I would do is, if you have something, go for it.
No, continue. You're good.
You go for it, babe.
Well, I was just gonna add on to your guys' books. I think you were saying it briefly, but obviously everyone's different, but so many people spend time in traffic. Even like the audiobooks
Yeah.
can be really nice to be done in the car. I'm
hate
I'm
audiobooks.
personally someone that's
They're gonna be
hard.
listening to busybodies.
I technically can't be doing that.
Yeah.
But I know Kirsten's tried it and it works for her. It
Mhm.
may work for people, some people, not everyone, but that's a good way to also start reading.
Also, music. Here's the thing, Brandon. To motivate him, to
Mhm.
wake him up and do things, he listens to music, right? But I do music.
Mm.
So for me, I don't listen to music to motivate me.
Oh, interesting.
I can't do it. It messes with my head. So I have to listen to talking or silence.
Yeah, actually, like I want to know what people need to do in the car on the way to like from point A to point B. What do
I
they need to
scream
get
the
that,
whole
that,
car
that
ride.
energy, that excitement,
I call the car
ready?
my sanctuary.
I full scream the whole car ride. If I put the window down, I'm just screaming, and then I let it back up. It's a full scream
love it,
from
Jake.
home to wherever. That's
Wow.
it.
You must lose your voice, right?
Well, that's how
away.
I keep that raspy sexiness. I just scream in my car
Top tip
anywhere
of
I'm
the
going.
day, guys. Top tip of the day.
You want to keep your
Yeah.
sexiness? Yell in the car.
all
Yeah.
the way home. Wee,
Bro,
wee,
no,
wee, wee, wee.
Kirsten likes a very silent drive.
Oh, we could never carpool.
That's very hard for me.
We could
That's very
never
hard for me.
carpool.
I mean, I'm very adaptable, so
Yeah.
I'll do other things. But when it's me alone,
Mm.
I don't have a lot of silence in my life. So again, presence, as silence. I have to face my thoughts. So
Mm.
that's what helped me face my fears. I was talking to this amazing, awesome guy the other day, and he was like, I was afraid of heights. I was afraid of the ocean. I was afraid of all these things. So he's like, I got my pilot's license. I got my scuba diving license. And I got my skydiving license. And I was like, that's practical thinking. It's like, I'm going to face exactly what I fear in the most wildest, extreme ways. And I'm going to do it.
Yeah, he went to 0 to 100. He could have just
mean,
like, maybe
yeah,
gone
it's
on a
like-
skyscraper. It's like, I am scared of heights. I got my plane license. That dude really just goes for it. I'll give him credit there. You know what I mean?
But also, it works that way. It's kind of like,
Yeah.
I mean,
was like,
There's
yeah,
a few
you're not
things he
gonna
probably
see
could have
me.
done first, I think. But like,
Yeah, you're
yeah.
not gonna see me
work
swimming
at
with
your own
sharks.
pace.
yeah.
But I don't know. I think that's don't be afraid to jump
Yeah.
in a good way.
Yeah.
Don't.
Well, yeah. Jump where they're safe, and you'll be okay. Whenever you're jumping, we'll have like, don't just jump off anything.
Please.
But yeah. On that note, don't jump. And thank you for
Thanks,
tuning in,
guys.
Busy Bees.
Guys, episode 3 is a success.
Busybodies.
There are busy bees.
They are busy
You're not
bees.
wrong.
Yeah.
But episode 3, this is a success. So
Yeah.
thanks, guys, for tuning in. We love all of you guys. And then
Every single one. We love every single one of you.
Just in case you weren't told that today. There's people
Or
that-
ever.
Yeah, there's people in this world who have never been told that. It's kind
Well,
of sad.
Well, on that
we
note.
love each and every one of
We
you
love
guys.
you. All right. Peace
I love
out.
all of you
We'll
guys.
see you next week.
Have a great day.